cloud hosting, you're going to eventually want to host your project, your side project, your client projects on the internet for people to use. And there are so many choices nowadays, but the main ones are what your clients and companies are going to look for. The big four is what I call them. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. I want you to get practice with all of them, but I'm going to give you my opinion on the big four cloud providers: AWS, GCP, Azure, and DigitalOcean. There are many others, like I said. Let me know what comes to your mind in the comments below. We can have a look at those hosting providers in the future. While you're down there, drop me a subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notified every time I go live or post a video, and it really helps support the channel. It's completely free for you and allows me to continue to put out free content. I'll give the video a thumbs up as well. So I'm going to go through these four main cloud hosting providers and give them a rating out of 10 based on their features, ease of use, cost on affordability, and community. You might be thinking, Eddie, what experience do you have with these? Well, I've used all of these, for startups to my side projects and also big government departments and UK banks. So I have played with all of them on a different range along the scale, let's say. So let's start off with features. So AWS, I would give it a 10 out of 10. It probably has so many features available. If you think of something, it has it. Definitely 10 out of 10 for that. GCP, probably an 8. But it's not just about the features, wait for the other sections first as well. I would give GCP an 8. It has got lots of features out there, really, really nice. And Azure, probably an 8 as well. Lots of features too, different types of features, a lot around the AI and machine learning, which I've noticed as well, which is really, really nice. DigitalOcean, probably less features, actually probably a 6, but it's still my favorite, and you're going to find out why. It's not just about the number of features, because there's so many features like on platforms like AWS that you actually don't use. You only use a handful of them. So let's continue down the list of categories. So the next category is ease of use. This is where the tables will turn. So AWS, 3. Like, AWS is really confusing to use. You gotta jump all over the place to find it. I don't know, it is what is most used with my clients, especially the bigger clients, but however, it is really painful to use. GCP is probably a bit better at a 4 or a 5. It is a bit easier to use. The UI interface is a bit nicer, but it's still not great. You try and do something over here, same with AWS, and it says you can't do it from here, you can't delete it from here because it's tied to something over there. Be like, I just want to delete everything. Like, I don't care. List me what is going to get deleted and just delete it. It was a practice project for a hackathon. I don't care. Stop charging me delete, and you can't. And that's a little bit painful. You jump over there and it's a bit hard. Azure, I thought was a bit easier to use. I definitely give it probably a 7, almost double. It is easier to use, the documentation are better, and I find it's easier to follow tutorials and so on. So yeah, a bit better. But right at the top, DigitalOcean. Wow, they're so much easier to use to understand. I mean, having never used Kubernetes before a while ago, and then jumping into having our own managed Kubernetes service or cluster on DigitalOcean was just really easy to get started. We were up like in 10 minutes and it all just worked. There were great documentation, great community around that. Oh, I jumped ahead, I mentioned community, ignore that. We'll get to that in a moment. But yes, DigitalOcean definitely wins that round on ease of use. So next up, we have affordability, like how affordable, how cost effective are these platforms? I want to focus probably more on smaller projects, but for larger ones, it might change, I think. But for small to medium-sized projects, AWS is an 8. I would give it is quite affordable, but you do get lots of, I suppose, hidden charges. They're tiny, but they just come up with 10 cents here, 5 cents there. And so you do sometimes worry what else is going to appear. And they do have a lot of fair use policy. So be careful of that. You might have heard some horror stories from close friends where they're expected to pay a few $100s per month. They send a lot of traffic to their servers, end up getting quite a few $1,000 costs per month. So be careful with that. GCP, very similar, 7 out of 10 for that one. Azure, I would give it a 4 because it's not really affordable. It does get a lot more expensive with Azure. I did enjoy using Azure, especially with the free credit that I had, but it did run out really quickly. And so I didn't continue to use that because I found it quite expensive. DigitalOcean, I would give it a 10 out of 10 for affordability because you know what you're going to pay. It says a droplet, so a VM costs $5, and that's what you're gonna pay another month. No hidden charges, and it is really affordable. Their managed Kubernetes cluster is like $10 a month, and that is epic. That is cheaper than AWS and GCP. And Azure, from what I have found, prices could have changed over the last few months, but when I set this up a few months ago, DigitalOcean was definitely considerably cheaper and there were no hidden costs, so do check that out. Community. AWS does have a massive community, so it's got to get 10 out of 10. I mean, it is a massive community out there on Twitter, on YouTube. There's a lot going on with AWS. It has been around for the longest, and people know that's what the bigger clients want to use. GCP, I don't think I've seen the community that kind of active and big. I haven't really looked for it, I suppose, maybe as much. I didn't use it for as long as AWS DigitalOcean, so that could be partly down to me, so I'm being completely honest here with you. I give it an 8. Same with Azure as well. Give it an 8 too, and same with I didn't kind of hunt around too much, but just finding people. I think it's growing. I have seen on Twitter the Azure community growing, so that could change. DigitalOcean, definitely a 10 out of 10 for community. The community, they're real ambassadors, right? They're really passionate and they want to help people. I love that. So that is really, really good. The DigitalOcean does have an ambassador program as well, which probably helps too. So I do like DigitalOcean gives away free swag, encourages people to share content about their platform and how to set up your Droplets, your Kubernetes cluster. So I do like that. So overall, I gotta admit, DigitalOcean and AWS are up there for my side projects, hackathons, community projects, my startup projects. DigitalOcean, 100%. Just faster, get things done, no surprises of cost. But with bigger clients, bigger companies, they're gonna wanna use AWS. So do try and get some experience with AWS, but you don't have to use it for all your projects. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me down below. What are your thoughts and what other hosting platforms do you think of? I'm really keen to get your feedback. I hope that sheds some light on some of the options available to know what hosting platforms you should use. I'll see you in Discord, link in the description below.